Yeah, he's taking Penguin into a whole new, role and a whole new
They're
way of, light. And
other than the fact that they're both the Penguin. There isn't a lot of similarities between them.
no, he's taken the Penguin into a completely different direction and a completely different light. So he's made Penguin his own, and that's where Taylor's kind of lucky. There's only been two Penguins. There has now been four Jokers. There's been how many Batman? Catwoman's another one. There's only been one.
There was, if you go back to I think it was the 1960s, Batman show, there was no fewer than three actresses who played Catwoman on that show.
Yeah, no,
then you got Michelle Pfeiffer and Halle Berry. I'm sorry, Halle Berry is a beautiful woman, but
she was only picked for that movie because of her looks.
Yeah,
her acting was not up to par.
And which seems absolutely psychotic considering that she won an Oscar. But let's not get into that. I know how you feel about the Oscars, but I think we're kind of allowing ourselves to go get drugged down the rabbit hole.
See,
here.
I don't believe that's actually the case in this one. We are talking about Steven Spielberg with the whole comic book era, go the way of the Western, and we're looking at some of the possibilities of how that could happen, or why it could happen, and actors passing away, and even when you look at how, for example, DC or Marvel makes the comic books, that it also changes how the movies are done, how the TV shows are done, and all that. Like, the building that the Fantastic Four is in, Marvel has written them out of that building and is now
the Baxter Building, which is now going to be Spider-Man's home turf. Apparently, I don't completely understand how that's going to work.
It's a shot at the Fantastic Four. It's a shot at, Sony. It's basically saying, you know what, if you want to make movies, you're doing it all on your own now. We're not giving you material. We're not helping you out. And it is the ultimate, kick to the nuts.
Well, I think one of the things that will eventually cause this genre to start drying up is the simple fact that, if Marvel does stuff like this, unless they get the movie rights to stuff, full rights to movies like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and X-Men. I'm not particularly worried too much about X-Men. After Days of Future Past, I'm almost willing to forgive Apocalypse if the movie turns out to be really good.
Yeah, which I am worried about that, but I have my reasons for that.
But, here's the thing. We got Civil War. That movie's coming up. That movie would have been a hell of a lot better if they could have went off and used the Fantastic Four, because Sue Storm plays an amazing, heartbreaking part in that the comic series, where she actually, how her husband Reed and the other members of the Fantastic Four go off and side with Iron Man, and she decides that she's going to go off and side with Captain America, and leaves everyone, including their son Franklin, to go off and to help them out.
Yeah, no, comics. It's touch and go. You have your good points, you have your bad points, and we definitely haven't seen the amount of movies that we have this year as we have in the past. So yeah, it is uncharted territory.
Well, and I am getting back to some Steven Spielberg's comments. He went off and he referred to how movie genres, very popular movie genres, tend to go into cycles, and that they only last not infinite amount of time, but a finite time. I don't even really know how to pronounce that, but for a certain period of time before, in popular culture, before something else comes along that goes off and takes its place. So what he more or less was saying was that there will come a time where in another genre will go off and push aside the mythological story genre, which more or less, means the superhero movies.
See, but when you look at the superhero, movies and all that, it covers such a wide variety of different movies. You got your superhero movies like Batman, Spider-Man, things like that. But then you got Star Wars, which really can't be classified as superhero.
It's not superhero.
Yeah, and then you got your sci-fi movies, which all fall in the same genre. So it's not just one. You got this wide variety of different, genres all bunched into one.
But the thing is, I mean, he's going off and saying mythological. That's actually a word he went off and used. But, the great thing about the sci-fi fantasy genre is that, I mean, there's so many directions you can go with. I mean, there's so many differences between Star Wars and Star Trek. And I mean, I know there was a joke on Big Bang Theory about it, where two girls on the show, talk about, so you're doing something Star Trek. No, it's not Star Trek and Star Wars. What's the difference? There isn't. And yes, there actually is. But,
Star Wars doesn't have guns that go pew pew.
They don't have phasers. They actually have, blasters,
Set your phasers to boring.
But, in the fantasy genre, it's the same. I mean, all you have to do is just look at a lot of the popular TV series. I mean, Walking Dead, and, that's a comic book show.
Graphic novel.
I apologize. Graphic novel. You're absolutely right on that. I completely take that back. But, I mean, and there will become a time, I think, where eventually we're going to see movies being produced by, not by companies other than Marvel and DC. I mean, I could see a time where we're going to see more Spawn movies coming out from Image Comics, which would be absolutely amazing.
And see, I'm not against that. I think, honestly, what's lacking in the whole comic book genre as of lately is competition. DC's finally making a push to fight back against Marvel, and Marvel's fighting against themselves. Basically, when you look at it, between X-Men, Spider-Man,
and that all goes back to the fact that Marvel almost went out of business, and if it wasn't for the Civil War series, they probably would have went bankrupt. And I mean, and during that period of time, they sold off the rights to characters like Daredevil, to the Punisher, to the Fantastic Four, to the X-Men, to Silver Surfer, and a lot of those characters, and they were able to get a lot of them back. They now own the rights to almost every single the movie roles to every character outside of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. I think it's kind of funny because I think Universal, the only character that they actually own the movie rights to is Namor, which, I mean, it doesn't matter how much the cast of this version of Fantastic Four wants him, as long as Universal owns the rights to Namor, we'll never see him in the Fantastic Four movie.
Which I'm not exactly against. Now, with the resurgence of a Daredevil series, do you believe we are going to have a Daredevil movie?
I really hope not. I honestly, I want, Marvel to just kind of, back off, on the movies and just let this, be a great TV series. Don't waste it. Don't, ruin it by trying to turn it into a movie. If you're going to go off and keep the cinematic universe together and, combine, the movies and the TV series, then leave it alone. Because we do know that in some of the backstory on Daredevil, they do, talk about that attack in New York. So let's just leave it alone. Don't touch it and just allow it to grow, because, I'm very excited to see where they're going. We know that eventually, we're going to see Iron Fist and Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage all come together to become the Defenders on Netflix. I'm excited to see, them, kind of grow that. Netflix, No,
I agree. I still would, like the idea of a Daredevil movie. Maybe not the same actors, but definitely I would like to see them remake the Daredevil movie that I thought was a debacle.
I saw Daredevil with Ben Affleck, and it wasn't bad. I wouldn't classify it within my 10 top favorite comic book movies, but I mean, it was nowhere near terrible.
No. It just, honestly, it was a one-time watch, and that was about it.
And I mean, I saw that, and I also saw Elektra as well, and that was another, okay movie. I won't call it great, but it was okay. I mean, and those are the type of movies where I'm saying, you know what, I'm glad I went off and watched it, but I probably will never watch it again.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we have to wrap up this episode.
Yeah, I think we really did well on this one. I mean, considering we pretty much beat a couple of topics over the head. Made them our wenches, and I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So, anyways, you can follow myself on Twitter at real CAPT Fizz. So at real Captain Fizz.
As opposed to at Unfizz, which apparently is a midget wrestler.
We had to go there.
There's a great story behind that. I'll have to bring it up another time.
No. We got some time. Let's tell our viewers why everyone thinks I'm a midget.
No, just one person. But we will discuss this another time. You can follow me at That Mask Guy. You can follow the show at FizzMask Show on Twitter. We're also experimenting with a couple things. The show has an Instagram account. Not a whole lot going on with that. I think it's literally, if you look up, I think it's FizzMask Show on Instagram. It may be Fizz and Mash Show. I can't remember because we barely ever use it. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook. Captain Fizz and Mask Guy Show or podcast on there. You'll find it. We're also on Tumblr, and I know that we are in the midst of putting together a website of our own, which hopefully will be up sometime in the near future.
Well, with my schedule slowly relaxing, the website is quickly coming together, and will be released really soon. And that's a huge thing. So that's going to be exciting to see. I just got to upload all our episodes, like our one tonight, and it's ready to go.
Awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay, so in the meantime and in between time, good night, God bless, may the force be with you.
And from the wannabe midget wrestler, stay frosty, everybody.
Good night, everybody.